What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another NBA Prize Picks video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're going to love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section to enter your name into the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. As you can see, I'm at propsmadeeasy.com, only $15 a month. And guess what? About 4 new prop types were added to the NBA player prop tool this morning. People were already talking about it in the prop chat, loving it. Super glad to see you guys are happy with that. Obviously, any prop type that we can add to where there is data that can back our plays, we will be willing to do that. As long as there is enough data to make sure that we're having enough information into our projections, we're perfectly fine with adding it into propsmadeeasy.com. Like I said, we have a new data source that we're also working together with now as well, to make things even more accurate at propsmadeeasy.com, make things even better. And we're just consistently going to work on growing, adding new content, all that good stuff to just bring as much value as we can to the sports betting world. Let's go ahead and get into it, and we'll take a look at the new additions to the NBA tool and go from there. As you will see, you will immediately see a little bit of a difference here. We have fantasy score. And obviously, when it comes to fantasy score, you're going to see some big differentials, okay? And that's just how it goes because it's a fantasy score. It's not just a stat type. So you've got different things now. Obviously, we have now at the NBA player prop tool at Props Made Easy, we have points, rebounds, assists, PRA, points and rebounds, points, assists, rebounds, assists. Now the 4 that we added: fantasy score, 3-pointers made, free throws made, and blocks plus steals. We will also be adding field goals attempted and field goals made, I believe. We talked about that. I'm not 100% sure when that'll be added or what, but we did add that in. So yeah, we've got a lot of different cool stuff here. Super excited about it to try it out on today's slate. And let's go ahead and get straight into it. Propsmadeeasy.com, baby. Let's get it. So first and foremost, I am going to play a fantasy score because this is just fantastic value, and it makes a lot of sense with Atlanta being back in Atlanta here on this game. Atlanta's down 0-2, I believe. They haven't been able to get a W from Boston yet. They're down 0-2, but they're heading back to Atlanta. And Trae Young obviously will play better at home. He's already hit, well, I believe he hit like 40 one of these times. He hasn't hit this in this series yet. But being at home in Atlanta, the data is speaking that he will have a much better game here at home in Atlanta than he was having on the road in Boston. Okay, the prop line at Prizepicks is at 40.5. We have his projection at 46.47, a differential of 5.97 differential, which is amazing. Obviously, that's a good, nice gap between those two. You're going to get big gaps in fantasy score from time to time just because, like I said, it's fantasy score, so there's going to be a bigger gap that's possible there opposed to where the stat projections will be. And this doesn't mean to fully play just fantasy scores alone now because the differential's that big. This is just letting you know which of the fantasy scores are the best differential values. You know what I'm saying? So instead of looking at in a broad spectrum like this, because the differential obviously is going to be higher when you're talking fantasy score, click on fantasy score alone and to be able to get an idea of what the biggest differentials are within that prop type. And then sprinkle it into your others like rebounds, points, PRA. Sprinkle these into your other ones, free throws made, stuff like that. Sprinkle these into the other prop types, all right? But yes, first pick that we're going to start off with today is going to be Trae Young, over 40.5 fantasy score, 46.47, 5.97 differential, sexy. Next up, we're going to use one of the new prop types. I want to do free throws made here. The biggest differential is going to be Darius Garland free throws made. His prop line's at 3 on Prizepicks. We have him going over 4 free throws made, 4.3 projection, a 1.3 differential. So I wanted to do the new prop type because it's just fun to have. I'm super excited about all the new prop types that we're going to be getting. Today we're also adding more prop types to MLB as well. They're not official yet, but those will be added to the MLB tool as well. Man, just things are just going to continue to grow and get new things and just add as much value as we can. We want all these different things that can just bring more and more content to the industry and bringing good data behind them as well. We're not just throwing these up and manually throwing in a number. These are using the greatest data sources that we could possibly get. Data scientists on our end at Props Made Easy, data scientists on our other data source, just everybody coming together to give us the best numbers we possibly can. But remember, projections are all just projections. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, these guys got to go out and do what that data would assume they do in this spot. If they don't, then You know what I mean? We have no control over how they actually end up playing. But what we can do is look over the data and the analytics and find out who's in the best spot to succeed based on what they usually are able to do in this position. All right? So, recapping what our plays are for today, we're going Trae Young over fantasy score, over 40.5 fantasy score. And then we're going to the new prop type, free throws made, and going Darius Garland over 3. Let me guys know what you guys think. If you love these new additions, whatever. If you haven't joined in PropsMadeEasy.com, do it. Only $15 a month. You get access to all of these new things. New prop types are still going to be added. MLB is about to add about 4 different prop types. Just extremely excited about the growth and the potential that we have here and the amount of money that we're able to make. I mean, new prop types adds new abilities to add more and more to like 6-pick flexes and just make it easy to be able to really dominate. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you can know when you build that 6-pick flex or you put in all your picks on Prizepicks or whatever other site you use, you're able to know that every single one of those picks is backed by solid ass data. And that's what it's all about. Data that is taking in consideration things that not everybody will check that box of when they're just manually trying to decide what they want to do for these player props. Remember that the whole goal of Props Made Easy is to show you the best value without you having to spend that hours it would take to get to this conclusion. You know what I mean? That data that's really bringing in to, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. Computers are smarter than human beings. Okay? It is what it is. We got to accept that. And at the end of the day, that's what this does. It brings in that data, brings in that smart data to immediately let you know the smart plays and just save you time. That's what it's about. Saving you time, allowing you more time with your family and not worrying about too much about your player props and stuff like that. Allowing you to go hang out with your kids or do whatever you got to do, work, and not worry about the fact that, you know what I mean, it's going to take you forever to get your picks in or you keep losing because you're not able to spend much time on them. With Props Made Easy, you don't have to spend a lot of time, but yet you're using data-researched picks, and that's the biggest part. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me as always, man. I'm heading over to do the baseball video. Smash tonight. Let's get it. Remember, don't just lock in every fantasy score. Remember that fantasy score obviously is going to have a bigger differential because it's fantasy score. That's just how that prop type is, okay? So pair along your favorite fantasy scores like Trae Young over, Evan Mobley over with your favorite PRA or your favorite points rebounds, your favorite one of these other tabs. You know what I mean? Utilize all of this. Also, I had somebody mention that they're not sure how to understand the new additions. So obviously with these new additions, we didn't worry about putting Vegas information in. That's why you see the lines there. We're just worried about getting our projection in and showing you a differential to immediately just, you know what I mean? Because fantasy score, you're not going to get a Vegas line on that. 3-pointers made, you could, and we might add that. But right now, who cares? The projection is taking all that into consideration anyway. Free throws made, same thing. You're not going to get that Vegas. Blocks and steals, you can, but it's easier just to get you the projection. That's what you're all looking for anyway, to know what the best value is, plain and simple. So thank you guys for joining me as always. The higher the differential, the better. As always, except when you're talking about fantasy score. Obviously, the higher differential, the better, but don't just rely because fantasy score is such a big differential. I want to reiterate over and over. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't like just take your favorites of these fantasy scores and then combine them with other categories, not just only make fantasy scores every day. You feel what I'm saying? Anyways, thank you guys for joining me as always. Have an amazing day. It is Friday. It's the end of the week, baby. We got the weekend. Y'all be safe, man, and let's get it. I'm out. Peace.